Hey, how's it going? So I'm doing my final student presentation on English 232 today, and my name is Haskell Sides. This is Kimberly Pace's American Literature 2 class. So I'm just going to jump right in. This assignment is on a particular situation where a racial or gender story affected and changed my perspective on that particular group. And this particular scenario is back, let's see, about last spring semester, I took an English class, and that class was a little similar to this one. It was English 2 or something like that, and for the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it. But we had a similar topic to this one where you had to pick a global issue, and they had a bunch of student presentations. And one particular one I can remember that sparked a big class discussion was this Muslim student. And he talked about how he believed that Muslims were being wrongfully profiled, and wrong assumptions were being made of them. And he told us, like, he'd go into venues and events and people would give him weird looks. And when he told us that, it was just like, I would have never thought about that. Like, for somebody just to be so ignorant and petty to just automatically assume, hey, he's a terrorist, and just get scared and give him weird looks and stuff like that. So this guy, he was really nice, really down to earth. And I was like, why would anybody ever assume that with this guy? And so he really opened my eyes. I never even thought about it like that, but he really opened my eyes on that subject. But the cool thing about, it's not just his particular discussion. Whenever he gave his discussion, the whole class just started chiming in. And the cool thing about Gaston College is, in a lot of my classes, I'm actually surprised there is a pretty good mixture of different races in the classes. So in this class in particular, there was a bunch of different races and groups of different people chiming in on this subject. So I got to hear all these opinions, and it was a really cool discussion. And we were all sitting around in a circle, and it kind of opened my eyes on some of these issues. And it just made me think, how ignorant some of these people can be to make these assumptions. So so that's my racial story about what changed my perspective on that person. So switching over, talking about a study of the class that did the same thing, had the biggest impact and changed my mind, was probably the reader response essay that we had to do in that category. Was reader response, and the particular story was, I did my essay on it, was to build a fire. And every English class, there's always one story that really sparks my interest and makes me just want to dive in and read it, in and out. And to build a fire was definitely one of those stories that I absolutely loved. But the cool one, the lesson that was taught of that is just kind of the ignorance of man, if that makes sense. See, I feel like men, and white males in particular, are just masculine and think they know everything. And they are. You can talk to some nice guy who you've known for years or whatever, but let's say he's a carpenter or whatever, and if you try talking about tools, he'll buff up and try to tell you what he thinks he knows about tools. But yeah, that story, I think it's on the ignorance of man. And it's just this, during the story, he's like, oh, I can survive in the snow, and that he's unable to comprehend the weather and temperature he's in because of his own, I keep hating to say it, but ignorance. Because the old man at Sulphur Creek, he warned him. He said, hey, you need to take other people out here, and he challenged that and said, no, I'm tough enough to be out on by myself. So, I think I've ranted and raved on long enough. Before I close this, I just want to add my little cherry on top. And this is what I added in my last essay of Last American Literature, is what I think and believe the importance of these classes are for. As you can see, I'm into music back here. Music is a form of art, and so is American literature. And I believe that these classes are so important and to add in the college study, because I just feel like kids these days and young adults are not getting the education that they need due to the internet and forms of communication and technology that they're being fed crap. There's a particular story that same class. No, it was last semester. American Literature 1. I'm sorry, English 231. It was an Edgar Allan Poe story. It's the story where the man he kills the old man with the evil eye and buries him under the house. That was the same, kind of got me the same reaction as To Build a Fire did. And it just was like, wow, this is a great story, and I'm glad this stuff's being taught because it shares the importance of literature and art in our culture. So anyway, I hope I didn't rant and rave too long. I hope I didn't bore you to tears, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.